Ugh, I'm sick. But I'm still drinking tea. And it was funny because last Monday was when I last did work on the car. And when I do bits and pieces on the car, I normally go inside afterwards and take that sort of those bits of film that I've done and edit them and stick them in so that by the time I've done the last bit, I just add it and then add the credits and I'm out of there, you know what I mean? So I was feeling sick and put the last bit on. I went inside, put the last bit in and zipped it up and started to unload it or upload it to YouTube. And I went to sleep. When you upload to YouTube, you can just start uploading it, then it does its processing. But you can hit publish before that, so it just publishes whenever it's ready. And it would have been ready at 2 o'clock in the morning or something. I don't know what time it was. And I was absent the day after, so I pulled the video thinking that if anyone saw this, I'm away from work and they're going to think, what's he doing? He's doing YouTube videos. But I did it because I didn't think it looked good. Even though I was asleep. I woke up at about 3 in the morning or something. Felt like death. And then I put on the school thing that I wasn't going to come in. So I pulled the video because I didn't think it looked good. Anyway, we've got these things. And I'll tell you this, I feel all right, but I'm sort of sniffly and all that sort of stuff. So if I do a big sniff, I'm going to cut it out. See, I just edited one out now and I can talk again. This is one of the lights in the front bumper. It's dull-ish, kind of. We can wet sand and buff that, you know how we do all that stuff. That's all right. We need another one for this. Now, when you buy these sorts of things online, you'll get some clown asking $35 and 15 postage, so it turns into $50, and that's just not going to happen. So I'll wait until I find somebody with the hood. There's a guy in, what is it? Adelaide? And I need an instrument hood. And I'll ask if he's got one of these. And if he has, that's cool. I'll get him to chuck it in a box and charge a few extra dollars for it. But for now, I'm just going to be dodgy. I'm going to hot glue it, which is very dodgy. But it's still roadworthy if moisture doesn't get in. And I'll replace it when the opportunity arises for another. So it's not particularly clean. It's pretty dodgy. But it's not a hard thing to fix. So if I pop that in there, which it doesn't fit, hey, I come back here. So that does fit that way. And put that there somehow, kind of like that. And just hot glue the snot out of it. Basically, it's got to rest as it's mounted on the front of the bumper bar. So I'm just going to do this because it's really bad to do it. And then just trim off what I don't need. Fill that bit there up. It will get me through. And that's all it has to do. So let that cool. And then I'll take it out of the indicator lens because those holes are nicely lined up. And I'll just do the other side. And I think we'll just put them back in. You know, they're going to flash, they're going to go on and off and all that sort of business. They're just the front indicators. Whoopsie. Is that dry yet? Kind of looks pretty cool out here at the moment. Oh, there we go. So let's just go on this side now. That's in the way. I've got the wrong glasses on. I can't see a damn thing. Oh, terribly dodgy. But sometimes they've got to be dodgy. And there's no point in hiding it because everyone has a streak of dodgy in them. I think that'll be alright. I think it will. I've got another one of those little sticks here, so if I need some more, I can just feed that in the back and I'm good to go. Anyway, back to wet sanding the car. Got to take this tail light out again because it's come away from its housing, I suppose. That's just got to be buffed in there a bit better. You can see there's a colour difference, but because it's on that apex, you probably can't see it so well, and it's not buffed properly yet. It's a bit dull. The paint on this rear quarter is not particularly good. We knew it wasn't good. There's imperfections all over it. It's just pretty horrible, really. The front and rear doors, and of course the front guard, and that crap badge at the front, which I've got to redo, and the different coloured bonnet, which we knew about, but we still don't care. These all open well. Interestingly, with these exterior handles off, very hard to get them open with the interior handles, but oops, it's not shut properly, but it does work. That shut line's rubbish, but I haven't touched those because I didn't want to. So that's all working. That's all good. Still got to muck around with the roof, fix up those imperfections. So You want to be doing that before you do the rest of the car, but I couldn't be bothered. I just wanted to get bit by bit done as I could. Coming around to the other side. Yeah, haven't started. Finally got around to getting these hose clamps, which, yeah, big deal. I just I've had this for a week before I got sick. Haven't even got around to putting it on. We've bought the tyres, haven't got them here. I've got to do the rims, having to stick tyres on it. I've got the discs ordered, and the front wheel bearings are ordered. So all that can go on. And then we've just got to get caliper overhaul kits. And what else do we need? The brake hoses and a couple of tyre ends at the front end's all finished. Then we'll get into the back, and once that's done, we'll patch up the exhaust, stick that back in, throw the fuel tank back in, and we've also got to do the interior, which I haven't touched yet. As you can see, it looks exactly the same as last saw it. So, work remains. Still not well, so I'm going inside because it's cold. Well, I'm finished down this side of the car, buffing it. The fuel door I've just sort of put there, that goes in behind it, which sort of holds it in the right spot. That's that side of it. I'm doing this side now. To here, and that's of course where we finished off last time. Buffing the guard, but we didn't do the door, so we'll do both the right end doors today. But chucked in that hose, which I've been banging on about for ages, and the front indicators. And I look at this car and it sucks. It's just too vanilla ice cream. I want to talk about a product I use for buffing. I used to use Menzerna, and I'm converted to this Cartec stuff. This is Cartec refinishing compound 4800. And great for no swirls. Really, really good product. Excellent, excellent product. Can't recommend it enough. Now, jump on eBay. This is over $100, 120 bucks I saw one for. Go to a shop and you'll pay half that. And there are a lot of snakes on eBay, and I keep talking about this, particularly with parts for Falcons. There's a guy selling parts for a Sigma, which are stupid. The prices are just so inflated, it's beyond comprehension. You're better sort of having some sort of professional relationship with somebody who you trust, and you'll find that a lot of the parts that come available are sold for a fair price, and you'll always go back if somebody looks after you. YouTube, on the other hand, a lot of people claim they're experts and give advice which they really shouldn't do. And that's why I will not give advice on painting, because I'm not a painter. As I said, I have other trades, but painting isn't one of them. Having said that, I get the results I want by the fact that I've asked people in the past and my own trial and error. Now, so far as painting is concerned, probably the best thing you can do is getting a boot lid off something like a Hyundai XL, a 90s one. They're very, very cheap parts for those things. And there's lots of curves on them. You can practice paint stripping using the glad wrap technique. You can rub the thing back, get it back to bare metal. You can try different etches. There's a 2-pack ISO-free product called All You Need, which I've not heard anything but good things about it. Having said that, I've never tried it. It's a etch and high fills that are built into one. And you can try different bits and pieces. You can try your buffing, which is a whole set of skills which require their own practice with, I suppose, as well as your spray painting techniques. And so I'll show you what I've been doing and the products I use, and we'll take it from there. So as I said, I'm using Menzerna, and that's just a buffing compound. You can use a polish over and above that, or you're supposed to use a polish. I always used to use Menzerna. This is a very old bottle. I don't know what the modern label looks like, but I don't tend to use that anymore. I just stay with that stuff. I find it's really, really good. As far as the pads are concerned, there are different hardnesses. There's a white one that's a lot harder than this one, which is very soft. I don't like using these because you've really got to have your head screwed on right, because these will make it extremely easy to burn through the paint if you're slightly wrong with how you're using it. I use the soft one, far more forgiving. Now this one's harder, not just because it's worn out like that, and I can sign old ones to doing aluminium and different alloys like wheels and stuff like that. This one's actually come away from the disc. So if you continue to use one in this condition, it's going to come off, and you're not going to be redoing the clear, you're going to be repainting the whole panel, colour and all. So you need to be very careful with these sorts of things. There are different hardnesses as well, but I just find they're the two that I use, but mainly just this black one. Now the buff, you get these through Milsom's and other paint retailers. This is a multi-speed one, of course, that's what you need. And the eBay cheap ones, I had one, it lasted all of about a week, and the speed controller went and it just ran flat out all the time. No good. This has been a really good one. I use it at half speed. A lot of people use them very slow and keep spray paint water on, and you just end up with a mess all over the place. A lot of compounds, they have to be used dry. This pad's very dirty. And I find, particularly with this stuff, somewhere it says don't use it wet. I can't remember. But you're literally just using a dot like that. A couple of dots, that's all you need. When you see people sticking all over the place with this, you're just going to end up with a big mess all over the place, which is hard to clean up and less than satisfactory in its result. I think I said it before, if you're going to go and wet sand, I always use a spritz bottle. This is a Brunnings one, which is a gardener's one. It's reliable, I've used it a million times and it still works well. A couple of drops of morning fresh dishwashing liquid and your paper will glide really, really well. The only papers I use, 1200 and 2000, that's it. I take the tops off the orange peel with the 1200. Every now and then, rarely, like I did on this one on the right hand front guard at the top, I use 1000 grit. 1000 to me, never ever use anything coarser like 800, don't go there. The minimum I like to use is 1200, and then I follow it with 2000, then hit it with the Menzerner, and you're shaving in the paintwork. So, let's have another look at this. Now this is a cheap job. It's not a particularly good one. It's a blowover, essentially, and there are imperfections in it. You don't ever want to be doing any of this stuff outside. It has to be inside, under fluorescent light. You can see there's a fluoro there. Can I zoom? I can't see it on the camera. You should be able to see very, very good definition, particularly around that LED light and also around the fluorescent tubes. Don't know if you can see it there. I've, well, buffed it and done all I need to do. You should have good reflections and be able to see yourself in it. Hello, how are you? My name is Peter. And yeah, I've put all the door furniture on. I haven't cleaned in the jams yet, they're still pretty messed up. And put the drip rail mouldings and the door top mouldings on. This one I haven't put the handle in yet. But I have, hang on a moment, I've got to put the Bailey channels in. You can hear the window rattling around. Whoa, hang on a sec. You can see the jam's dirty from where I've been wet sanding. That's alright, that's wipes off. And I have replaced this handle here with the aftermarket new one, which was 15 bucks, something like that. That being said though, I must say, overall I'm not that satisfied. I'll show you something with this in a minute too. I'm not that satisfied with how the thing looks. It just looks too Spartan, it looks too bare, it looks boring. It is essentially a fairly boring car, but I did experiment in the last video with using a silver stripe, and I've got a dark blue one as well. Don't like them. I think ultimately what we need is a red one with red badges. The Mitsubishi and so forth on the back needs to be red, I think, just to lift it a bit. I did raise this a little bit when I painted it, and I think it might be too close to the taillight. So by the time I put a stripe in there, it might look a bit busy above the bumper bar. I've got to stick the bumper on and have a look. The other thing with acrylic, I don't think this is ready to buff. If you start colour sanding or wet sanding and you find you can smell solvent, it's too soft. Now, that wasn't really the case, but I was kind of looking for it, if you know what I mean. I was sort of aware of it. Now, one of the reasons I say always speak to a qualified tradesman is they've had the schooling, but not just that, they'll pick up the hints and tips and tricks that you get along the way. There are a million mechanical ones that I know of, and painters will have them too. Now, I did speak to one old school painter, and I don't know if this is true, I've never tried it. When he blends a colour, he actually clears the panel first, then blends, then re-clears. He said because the first coat of clear absorbs where you've blended and just makes it blend a lot better. Never tried it, don't know. I'm just not experienced enough to be able to judge it. What I have found with a solid colour or a metallic, when you blend it, I always clear over them, because if you go and buff out where you've blended, it'll rub out half of it and you'll end up with a dirty line where you've blended, where it starts to get lighter, if you know what I mean. So I've always found where you're blending, you have to clear over the whole thing to protect where the blending gets thin, and so when you buff it out, you can't see it. So there's all sorts of different tricks of the trade and that sort of stuff. What else do I need to say? I've got to put the lower clean-up sill and put that lower strip on. There's a strip that goes there. There's also the body side mouldings that go along here. Now, Some of this I haven't finished off particularly well, and you can see, is it the front bit? Can you see, if I do that, you can see there's a divot in there. Where is it there? Reason for that is the moulding's going there and I didn't bother. This is a very, very quick job. And as such, I have not bothered cleaning up some of those tiny little imperfections that if you left the moulding off you would see, but with the moulding there you never will. So from here, we've got, or from last time, we stuck the indicators in the front, like that. Still it's very bland, very Spartan. The badge blows, I don't like it at all. Where is it there? I think it's a bit off center, I need to fiddle around with that. Have put the lower radiator hose on, you've seen all that. It clears the pulley well. Interestingly, it did have the right lower radiator hose on before, and it had another bottom hose on the top. Go figure, don't know why. So in the next lot of videos, I have to redo the master cylinder, put that on, what is it? Put the brake lines on, all that sort of other business. That might be tricky, but I've elected to stick the thing together without doing that first, which was probably a mistake, but it doesn't matter. What else is there to talk about, guys? Let me have more tea and I'll see if I can remember. Oh, I remember. Oh, okay. So, let's have a look at this. We'll look at the sheen level on the roof. It's quite good. Look at the sheen level here, where the fluoros are, and it's quite cloudy. Now, the reason this happens, and this will happen probably all over this car because I wet sanded and buffed it before I think it was ready. I wanted to get it done before too long because I wanted to stick the car on the road. Now, ordinarily with cars like the XC, when I've painted bits and pieces of this, I've let it really go off over months, then wet sanded it, and you find it'll hold its sheen level a lot better. This car, I don't think it will. The XD's done the same thing, where I first painted it, you could shave in it, and it now looks like this. Now there's a way around that, and what I think it is it's been buffed before it was ready, and you've got solvent leaking through it on its curing, which has dulled the paint off. Hit that with a bit of 2000 and a buff and it should come good. So let's give that a shot now. So here we are on the boot lid of a little Sigma. The edge I've painted probably doesn't look great. I'm just going to redo this bit here in terms of buffing it. But I'm looking at the definition here with the lights, and it's very, very cloudy. And that's the reason you want to be inside. You need to be able to see exactly what you're doing so that you get good definition with those lights. Now, over yonder, I'm going to point there. It looks like there's fairly good sheen level there. So outside, even a crummy paint job can look pretty good. But it's inside that's important. Now, I can't see where am I going? I'm going to be going around here, aren't I? All right then. So I'm just going to wet this down. You're supposed to wash it first. Now, I didn't paint this. This is just 2000. Just 2000 grit. Again, we've got white stuff there. That is the clear coat. Now, when I painted this car, I dusted a coat of clear on, then I gave it 3 wet coats. And the reason I did that was because I'm going to lose at least a coat with the sort of wet sanding and buffing procedure. So I don't know how much clear is here. We need to get him nice and wet. Let's do a little patch here, eh? Well, hang on a second. Let me go a bit higher. I'll go up here, right to the edge. Just keep the thing wet, whatever you do. Alright, we're just giving it a light sand, not much. And just wipe off the excess water. And someone's already wet sanded this, obviously in the past, so you shouldn't be able, or you shouldn't have to do too much. You're just taking just that very, very fine top bit off. Now, if you go to buff, now I already hit the bonnet of this car with the buffing pad, and it made no difference. Right, so that's the reason I've taken this one back a little bit further. And we'll get our buff, and we've only got a little bit of compound on there. The other thing you'll find when you do this is when you feel the buff starting to drag, that's when it's doing its cutting. Oh, we'll see how that is. It looks a bit better from here. How does it look from your side? Yeah, a bit better? I don't know if you can see it, but let's lift the camera and take a bit of a look. Because I made a mistake, I want to show you something. So if I dust this off, here we go. That should be a bit better. We've got that as opposed to that. So let's look for some light. See the difference? You can see the edge of where I've been. So the problem with this, I'll show you, is that burn. I burnt that because the very thing I was talking about, the pad fell apart. And this went across the garage. So we knew we were running the gauntlet using it, but that's why you really do need to be extremely careful, because that happened in a bloody microsecond. It doesn't matter because I'm repainting the boot anyway, but it's just something to look out for. So that's where we just took a little bit more off, and that's without doing it at all. And it's not quite as clear as the part we just rub with a bit of 2000 first. One thing I did forget to mention when you're doing this, you can see where I've been wet sanding along the floor, is always to use a light. Now, proper painters use fluoros all up the walls, and you can really, really see what you're doing. So I would get on all fours, basically, right down at that level, to get, there's a mark there, to get the effect I wanted. Oh, hang on a sec. Is that off? Oh, that's better. You should see real clarity on reflection against, you know, the floor or whatever it is, the lead or whatever's next to your car. You should be able to see all that. That edge there, not good enough, so we're going to go through that again. But again, you know what, I'm not overly fussed about it because it is at a level, it is at the level I sort of wanted. So I think that'll do. I hope you enjoyed that. Look at how bad that is. Again, we can get into that, but we're not going to bother because we're going to paint the car. Or we're going to paint the bonnet in the spring, most likely. So there you go. Painting something like a retro bread box or something like that, making it look shiny, is very easy to do. Not hard, a Tonka toy, whatever it is you're doing. But to do something properly and something that's going to look good if it's outside and still looks really, really sharp, that's a hard thing to do, and that's why you need to speak to people who really know what they're talking about. A lot of the acrylic finishes, like you see on this car, they don't last as well. A lot of the paint technology has gone into water base and 2-pack, particularly water base. So the acrylic stuff that used to be used isn't the same stuff. It's not got lead in it and all that sort of stuff, which gave it a lot more sort of longevity, if you know what I mean. But these sorts of old cars that we tend to keep inside and take out on sunny days, you know, it does last an awfully long time. It's really good like that. The Falcon I painted 10 years ago, and although a cover leaked and destroyed it in an area on the roof, I have to repaint the roof on it. The rest of the paint still looks really, really good. You know, it's a bit dull, but once it's been buffed out, it'll look every bit as good as that or better. So I did take more care with the Falcon. I did that in 2008 or 2009, I can't remember. And that's just acrylic stuff, so it can last really well if you look after it. Anyway, look, I hope you've enjoyed that little demo. I think I might stick that rear door handle in now. Okay, so yesterday we got this thing out. Number plate lights. And we've got the surround for the boot lock. It's dull, so we can sort of polish this bit. I don't want to repaint that, but I don't mind sort of masking this off and just rattle canning that bit. A couple of things with it. You can see if you look through that black bit there, the seals are sort of all over the place. Not a big deal. I think ultimately what we can do with that is just stick them tentatively to the back of the lens, just to see how we go with it. Pull that out and you can see it there, it's sort of distorted. We can even cut new ones out, that's not a biggie. But they, if I wet my finger, oh, Struth, they're brittle. Wow, I've just broken it. Damn. Right, that's not good. We're off to a really bad start. I just thought I'd lick my finger and see if I could get it to do something. But, invariably, it didn't work out. Okay, how do those little festoon guys look? I'll take one out, have a bit of a look. Yeah, they're dark. I think that one looks a bit fresher. Whoops. That one looks a little bit better. So, do I have another one? Just a moment. And we do. Slight, are they the same? They're the same wattage, they're 5 watts a hit. Alright, let's see if we can get this in. This could be quite tricky. They're actually a bit of a pain to get in. There we go. There's a bit of success. Okay. Right. So, perhaps if I turn it that way, it might be easier for you to see, hey? Alright, let me just stick that back in there. That's good. Okay, let's see if she works, hey? We got the feedway here, and we've got an earth there. And we'll just stick that thing across a battery and see what happens. And there we go. That works quite well. Cool. Alright, so first thing is we'll bin that because it looks a bit grey and it looks like it's going to die reasonably soon. And I think that'll be fine. We'll just maybe re-black that bit in there. Just because the paint has actually worn off in that area. They're just two long stickers by the look of it. But that'll do for now. I'm not worried about that. Rear bumper bar. This is a really good one. Still a little bit wet. I don't want to drop it. Clean the inside a bit. There's a tiny bit of surface rust, nothing to worry about. That was mainly road dust and everything sitting in there. So this one just bolts on with these two and the other two on the other side. And there's a 6mm bolt thread in either side that wasn't attached. There's a plastic sleeve over one of them, must be the other side. You don't want too much moisture being held there because that's what's going to rust it. The main thing with this is it's much better condition than the XD. It's not lumpy or bumpy. It's really, really smooth and in good condition, so I'm pretty happy with that. Just putting the last of the door handles in. I just masked behind with a bit of gaffer tape when I painted the outer skin of the door. Hang on, where's the end of it? So I can just put them in. These back ones are pretty easy. The front ones are horrendous to do. This one, they all have a spring or two springs. I've replaced two of these with ones I had in that ice cream container at my mother's house since I had Sigmas years and years ago. But three of them had one broken spring. So this is an original one because you can see it's all oily, but it'll be alright. You're just got to be careful putting them in. And whoops, you just follow them right under and then they just sit in. They're pretty easy, pretty benign stuff really. And we just make sure we just put this thing on properly and we're out of it. Nice and easy to get to on this one too. But yeah, the front ones are terrible because the bottom part of the window rail gets in the way and you can't get tools in there or anything. So you've a bit of a pain, but look, at the end of the day, it's a pleasure working on this car. So a door handle's a bit tough to get in, big deal. You just do it. It's been such a lovely little project that it's not going to be long before it's wound up and I'll kind of miss doing the work on it, you know. Anyway, I'll just nip them up and I can plug that little actuator right in the side of it and that's it. That's all there is to it. Right. Perfect. We just put these horrible silver stripes on the side. So, given that there's not much room, I'm going to move the car over and do the other side now. Right, so I've gone to mask this up and just paint that black bit. So I masked off the chrome. The top, when I took the paper off, it took some of the paint with it, and underneath the paint is this chrome. So I started masking it off, thinking, you know what, I'll just repaint it. But that's quite nice under there. So I figured, you know what, I'm just going to take the rest of it off and just be done with it. So just rubbing it off, I haven't sort of tried to peel it or anything like that. It's just the tape grabs some of it. So I just thought I'd use a bit of GP just to get the rest of it off and give it a final clean. I reckon it'll look just better for not being black at all, really. It's certainly if it doesn't look better, it's not going to look any worse. Still putting these Dorian grey stripes on. And they don't grip around here too well at all. So I might have to hit it with a... They're straight. Might have to hit it with a heat gun. But they're bloody awful. But the only thing about these that relaxes me a bit is they're not going to be here for long. I've got to fix that tail up too. I keep seeing that and then forgetting about it. They might be alright. They're not particularly good, you know. It's the whole finish of the things are all right, but it's not like a showroom car or anything. I think we can stick that boot thing on now, that centerpiece. Well, now we've got our really bad stripes on, I can put this back. I had it off before, just so I can clean it, because it's only very thin aluminium and it's going to be very easy to damage. So that can go back in. And where's the holes? There should be some holes. There's a hole. And then our little top bit with the number plate lights fits on top. And then we're almost out of the woods with the back of the car. And then it should look a bit sharper. There's a bit of paint damage on this up here, but that's all covered up, so I'm not even worried about that. Okay, I think that's pretty much done it. Bit of thinner on there. Wiped off without any issue whatsoever. So what I want to tell you about, or talk to you about, is this next bit. And I'm quite keen to see how it's going to go. We had these lenses, and they didn't clean up terribly well. And they fit like that. Now what I've done is got a couple of scrap bits of, what's this stuff called? Acrylic. And I've made my own. Now, these are frosted, or at least there's a reflector on the outer edge of it. So that would be to stop light, I suppose too much light coming out and going over the road, and to concentrate it mainly on the number plate area. So what we can do is we can actually take the back of this off. Now this stuff has a shelf life, and if it gets to the point where it's been stored for a long time, it can be difficult to get this off. See, it's leaving bits of residue there. That means this is old stuff and it's been sitting around. And it was in a bin, sort of like a scraps bin. So inadvertently what we can do is we can tape off a section and dull it off with a bit of paper or something. Maybe just get a bit of, oh, here's some. So that's sort of from the centre line of the screw. Oh, well, maybe let's go from the edge of the screw. And let's get a bit of paper and we'll Scotch-Brite or something and we can rough that up. Anyone who watches my stuff knows that I bang on about Scotch-Brite all the time. And straight off the bat, it's so much stronger than the other lens was, because the other one broke when I put the most liberal of pressure on it. Alright, let's try that, hey? So, take the side off. It's probably made sod all difference, really. But I think that's good enough. So we'll put the shiny side like that. I think that's going to work. So what we need to do now is something reasonably ugly. We need to get some contact adhesive and reuse these gaskets because they're horrible. And it's going to really destroy the appearance of what we're doing, but we don't have much choice because they're not going to sit correctly. So just a moment, please. Pity I'm doing this sort of as badly as this because I really don't want to. I'd like new gaskets, but I just haven't got them. Oh gosh, that's bad. So we'll just stick them on to the edge like that, and this one to the edge like that, and that's all it needs to do. Just hold there while we tighten it up. Where are screws? Where are screws? You could obviously spend a lot more time making this look better, and it's time I haven't got. And I'm going to be staying back at work over the next couple of nights. So I've got to catch up on some stuff and, you know, all this other stuff. So I'm not in a position where I've got a lot of time for this, or at least to finish some of this. Now that's all right because you can't see it. I was worried about the thickness of it because this is 3mm acrylic, and yet I thought it might be visible from this side, if you know what I mean, because I thought it is thicker. Okay, so that all said and done, let us check if there's light. Yes, there is. Perfect. That'll do it. Let's put it back in the car. So I guess the first thing I do is pop the wire through. Is that the right one? No, it's not. Where the heck does the wire go? That doesn't look like it fits in there too well. Yes, it does. That's where the wire is. Right. So, oh, bling. Look at that. There's a plastic finishing gasket that goes on there, which I took off, and that just goes along the top edge to stop anything from damaging or getting damaged. So this goes against there like that. That'll do. So on she goes again, round two. And then we'll just tighten him up. We'll just connect our little wire up in here. And then we just give him a bit of a wipe. And I think that looks perfectly acceptable. You don't see much of it, just the sort of top edge. But that is absolutely fine, I think. Cool. Excellent. So, I think it might be bumper bar time. We know these threads here are okay. They didn't present any problems when we were sort of taking them out of the car, although I did leave this bump in the trailer for a few months. These weren't secured. That looks like a 6x1 thread, which it is. Have I got enough turning room on that? No, I haven't. So naturally, I want this to have fasteners in it. That's raw steel, and I don't want it to scratch anything. I'm going to put double-sided tape there, but leave the back of the tape on, and I'm just going to have two vertical strips. I don't want this collecting water. So, because this had no fasteners, the threads are probably okay, which they are invariably, but we don't know that. They could have been a bit of a mess. Let's get some nice little Toyota Starley bolts. I always keep these sorts of things when I disassemble a car. That was the grey one that we ended up not doing up, and it went to the crusher, unfortunately, because I bought the Plymouth and there was just nowhere to put it. This is from Milsom's. This is double-sided tape, the acrylic stuff. You use strips of this, perhaps the slightly thicker one for the side mouldings with urethane between them, apparently. That's the best way to do it. I bought this little roll, wrong one, because I wanted to put the badges back on the car. And I'm just going to use a couple of strips just here and here on both sides just to insulate that from the body when I put it on. It's great stuff. It's really good quality stuff. So just a little strip on either side. And as I said, I'm not going to take the red tape off, the insulating tape. I'm just going to use them just as pads. And I think that's going to be fine. They needn't even be that long. We're only using a very small amount. You could even actually just have them like one across the top. But I just didn't want anywhere where there could water, or where the possibility for water sitting would be. So I think that's going to be alright. You could probably put some mastic around the hole. And these just fit into channels. They're quite straight. Did I just hit the light with that? They're quite straightforward, I think. But I'm not scratching the side of the car. Somebody asked me what I'd been wiping the bumpers with to make them look good. Transmission fluid. I don't think you're supposed to be doing it. It's an old 80s sort of car detailer's trick because they were too mean to buy Armour All. Now, this isn't something I'd recommend. This bumper bar is in absolutely mint condition. And I've done it for the sake of this video, and you know, if you're going to show it or whatever, you probably would, but then I don't think anyone would show one of these. But I did the front bumper bar when I did that last video, and that was a little while ago. I'll show you what it looks like. And it stood up well, you know, it looks lovely. It's not greasy, nothing. It looks really, really good. I don't think you're supposed to do it though. It's just it's just a thing I've done just for the sake of this, really. I've got to clean up in here, but I can do that later. I've just been looking in the brochure where these badges sit. Sort of like that, I think. Maybe a bit lower. And I've just used that double-sided tape on the backs of them and just sort of cut around. I might just lower that a tiny bit. Well, let's pop one on. See what happens. It's going to be a pain taking all this off, so I'm just going to go and do that now. Yep, I think that's about the spot there. So I'll just do the Mitzi one, and I haven't got a Sigma one from the other side. And I'll do it. I think that's going to do. I think this was the other way around, the wrong way around initially. I think they had the triple diamond thing on the other side. That should do nicely. Well, ladies and gents, that's it. That's it for this video. I'm fairly happy with it. It looks pretty complete, pretty good. There are still screw-ups in this I've got to fix, but I'm not too worried about it. There's the bottom colour. And I am happy with it. I'm very happy with it, actually. Yeah, it's not as good as the XC. The XC is difficult to judge its paint because it's white. And you've got to really look along to see that there's been a lot of work put into it. This one, you know, for example, the top of the boot lid is the original colour, but it's not offensive. It's actually not too bad at all. We've got bits of stuff in here that still need to be put in. I'm a genius because I forgot to put the underlay on the tunnel, so I've got to take the passenger seat out, put the underlay back in, and then the shifter and all that sort of stuff. But this is just basically the backing plates. They'll go on next video, and the caliper brackets, and you know, once I've pressure tested the heater core, which I'll do very soon, the heater can go back in. You know, the gear boot, the shifter's up on the bench over here somewhere. There's the shifter, I think, with a whole lot of gunky crap all over the stem of it. So all that can go on. I've still got to clean up in here. Look, that's all polishing residue and muck. I haven't even cleaned that up. But that's our lovely shiny... I don't know how necessary that is, but it's easier doing that than repainting it. Yeah, so I'm quite happy, all things considered. The paint's pretty rubbish in some areas, like in here. That's crap. But I don't think it matters. Up there, it's crap. And of course the wheels, which have wet sanding muck all over them, have to be... I've got to start polishing the other ones. But I think mainly the general consensus is that it's turned out okay. So there's lots of cleaning inside jams and stuff like that. And we'll get a rear Venetian for it, which I think will really lift the back of it, because it is a very plain car. This is not an SE. It's a GL, which is sort of the one, it's the middle one. The basic Sigma is the base one, then your GL, then your SE. And so this car's missing a lot of the niceties that it would have had when it was new. For example, the chrome dress rings and, you know, the centre caps, which I've got in the boot, that sort of thing. I can still paint those wheels up. I'm just not going to do it yet. And I've still got to repair the paint on the roof. I've still got a lot to do on it, but this is more than satisfactory for taking it in for roadworthy and, you know, finishing it up. So what we're going to do in the next video, we'll have that heater box sorted out, and I'm going to pressure test the core, and then that can go back in, and then the heater controls can go back in. Then we can put the start painting up all the plastics and stuff like that. I think I've got them in the Plymouth here, and the centre dash bit, that was the bit we put the plugs in, so I want to sort of continue working on that and get this all painted out. That's the last thing I'm going to paint before next spring. I'm not interested in pulling the guns out again for the time being. It's all, you know, I'm finished doing that stuff for now. So, look, I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm sorry I haven't got this outside. I've got it parked inside, and it's a heck of a mess. But I'm happy with it, and I think, you know, once we get Bailey channels and all that sort of stuff in, we might have this rattling glass, and we can sort of put it all back together, and it'll look really nice with Harvey's dash especially. And I'm looking forward to driving it with its power steering. One thing I must say, if you get one of these mirrors, Do not use a razor blade on it to scrape overspray off. It's scratched it. It's made a mess of it. It's a very, very soft glass, and I'm really annoyed with myself for that. You can see how messy the bonnet paint is. But for what I want, it's fine. And the quality of the paint is actually not too bad. There's a dent here I didn't fix in there, but the big major dents I did. So we had to keep it quick, you know what I mean? It had to be a quick job. We've got our East Side Mitsubishi sticker. That was the one on the car we bought when it was new, and my mother actually reversed into a new car with her new car on delivery day, which was quite embarrassing. So that is actually incorrect. That's East Side Mitsubishi or Chrysler, I can't remember. They were both very similar stickers, but you can see it's got the 9878 7333 there. That 9 shouldn't be there at the beginning. It should just be 878 7333. The reason is they changed the Australian phone numbers, the Victorian ones. I think 1995 or late 90s or something. It was a new look to an old number was their advertising slogan. So look, I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope you've enjoyed this. The car's looking rather lovely. I'm happy with it. Hope you are too. Take good care of yourselves. Enjoy Classic, and I shall see you soon. Bye.